Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. I just got done watching the Survivor finale, so it's time for me to do a Survivor recap. My Survivor recap is a little bit late, and that's because I was on vacation and I unfortunately missed the episode. So let's go ahead and get started. So to recap on tonight on the episode, the tribe is basically regrouping from Joe's medevac. It was very sad to see him go. For somebody his age to be out there and playing the game, it's very inspiring to all of us who want to go out there and play Survivor. But now everyone's trying to regroup and figure out where they should go from here. They're in the final four, and you see two different ways people want to go. You see Aubrey wants Michelle gone because she's a huge social threat and she hasn't made any enemies on the jury. But on the other side, you see Michelle wants Aubrey gone because Aubrey has done so much during this game. She has made huge moves and she has proved herself as a leader in the game. So it's truly the opposite sides of the coin there, and it really makes these last reward challenges and immunity challenges very crucial and literally $1 million challenges. So the reward challenge was they had to go through this obstacle course and kind of balance these puzzle pieces to make pairs, and the pair that didn't match would show give them a combination to unleash their flag. And everybody did well in that challenge. Aubrey had a big lead, and she actually at one point had everything in place, and I thought she was gonna win, but she kept trying a combination multiple times, and what she found out was that one of the pairs that she thought were the same actually weren't, so the combinations she was trying were actually wrong. So then that gave Sydney, Ty, and Michelle time to catch up to her, and I believe both Ty and Sydney tried it, and it didn't work, and Aubrey got the right combination, and she did win the immunity challenge, which was a steak dinner, and she chose to bring Sydney with her, and her reason being that, her and Sydney have been together in a lot of the votes, and she wanted to make sure that Sydney was still on the same page with her. But then Michelle sees that Aubrey and Sydney are such a tight pair that she needs to split them up, and I give props to Michelle for spotting that out, because as a fan of the game, I know people who have watched it, you know how dangerous pairs can be. So Michelle's trying to persuade Ty to try to get Aubrey out, but Ty's has had an alliance with Aubrey, so he's a bit hesitant to do that. The immunity challenge had some similarities from previous final immunity challenges. They had to go this obstacle course, and they had to go in the water and get this key, and it would unleash some stairs. They had to go back out and then unleash a ladder. And they had to put this puzzle together, this 3-layered puzzle, and they all had to be the same size. And how they knew if they were right or not, it went lightest color, dark, and darkest. And Aubrey had a great lead the whole time, but when she got back, she couldn't quite figure out the puzzle, so that put her and I think it was Sydney behind. They kind of fell out of the challenge, and Michelle actually ended up winning the immunity challenge. So that puts a damper on Aubrey's plan, because Michelle was going to go home tonight if she didn't win immunity. So Michelle tries to put her plan in action to vote Aubrey off, and Ty is a bit skeptical because he likes Michelle's idea, but he wants to stay true to his alliance with Aubrey, because Ty has backstabbed the alliances he's been in. So tribal council was interesting because with Michelle wearing the immunity necklace, she has all the power, and she wants to make sure she makes the right decision. And they actually ended up forcing a tie between Sydney and Aubrey, which I've been a fan of both of them since day one, so it was kind of sad to see one of them go. And it being the final four, they asked Michelle and Ty if they were locked in their votes, and they said they were. So how they settle a tie, that close is a fire making challenge. So that was interesting because Sydney actually asked Michelle, should I practice my fire making skills? And Michelle said, no, no, you're good. So Sydney didn't even stand a chance. I mean, if you saw her doing the fire making challenge, she couldn't even get a spark. I mean, she got something, but nothing lit. And Aubrey could see her fire just lighting up. And at one point, her fire diminished, but then it got back up again straight. And she actually ended up winning the fire making challenge, sending Sydney home. And Sydney was a great competitor, and she was sad because she wanted to play for her mom and wanted to make sure she was taken care of. And I definitely think if Sydney would have made it to the final three, that the jury would have a hard time not voting for Sydney. So they go back, and it was a little bit emotional for them, and they're happy. They all think that they're in the final three, but then Ty points out that Jeff usually says something about the jury, like you're the final three, and they think that there's going to be another challenge making it a final two. And they all think, nothing's going to happen. And sure enough, they go in the next day, and Michelle gives her immunity necklace back. And what they find out is that they're not playing for immunity. The reward challenge is whoever wins the reward gets to vote somebody off the jury. And that has never happened in Survivor, so this was a major twist. And basically, the reward challenge was another balancing game. They had to balance this. I don't know what you'd call it. They had to balance these balls and these structures, and it had to. I think it was like 5 or 6 of them that had to stand up straight, and it really came down to Aubrey or Michelle, and because Ty's actually fell down, so he was basically out of it, and both Aubrey and Michelle only had one ball left, but Aubrey's unfortunately dropped, so Michelle ended up winning the reward challenge, and that gave her a lot of power because she gets to choose somebody who she thinks that would definitely vote for Ty or Aubrey. And both Aubrey and Ty give her valid cases. Ty suggests that she votes out Neil because Neil and Aubrey were very close, and that he can persuade the jury to vote for Aubrey. But then on the other hand, Aubrey says for Michelle to vote out Scott because he was very close to Ty at one point until Ty betrayed him. But that Scott is has this big personality, and he can sweet talk the jury. So Michelle had the opportunity to let the jury know what was going on, and judging by what Michelle said, they thought that Jason would be the one voted out, and it sure enough was Neil, and Neil had a lot to say about that because Neil said that basically Michelle got by on luck and she was just sucking her way to the end, which I kind of agreed with Neil there. But now Ty, Aubrey, and Michelle are the final three, and they got to enjoy the last day together. They got to look in the mirror and see what they look like now, and they head into the final tribal council, and Ty brought Mark the chicken with him, and that really shows his personality. Like, he's just such a kind-hearted person and just an animal activist. And from what you saw in the final tribal council, really it's anybody's game. Nobody seems solely to go this way or this way. They asked them a lot of questions. They basically were questioning Michelle on if she got by luck or what exactly was her strategy. For Ty's case, it would be, I guess for Ty, they were trying to figure out, was he genuine? Like, does he like Debbie asked, does he about his multiple personalities? Like, which one is he? And then for Aubrey, they were trying to figure out, they're trying to see her confidence and trying to figure out trying to get her to explain what move she made. And it was actually sad because Ty didn't bring Mark the chicken back with him, and he left him back there, and the whole jury even said goodbye to him. And That shows a lot of power that when you're out there on Survivor and all the survivors didn't, all the Survivor castaways didn't eat the chicken because of Ty. So I have to give Ty major props for that. I watched they're back in the United States and they're all sitting there waiting for the votes to be read, and we find out that Michelle was the winner by a 5-2 vote. I'm not 100% sure who voted for who. We know for a fact that Joe voted for Aubrey, and I knew Julia would vote for Michelle because they were close. So I'll have to check out to see exactly who won. I was very disappointed that Aubrey didn't win because I definitely think she deserved to win, and she was a true underdog in the whole season because I wouldn't say she started out in the bottom, but she was so anxious and anxiety, and Debbie helped pick her up, and Aubrey became this leader, and she became more confident in herself, and that's very inspiring for people who want to be out there. I mean, I always root for the underdogs. And you know what? A lot of people, and including myself, are disappointed that Michelle won because Michelle kind of got by pure luck in the game. A lot of the time, she was clueless as to where the vote was going to go, and she basically got by on her looks. I know a lot of people on social media are disappointed that Michelle lost and Aubrey didn't, and I've seen a lot of people comparing it to some Survivor Samoa when Natalie White beat out Russell Hantz, even though Russell Hantz kind of changed the game in a way of how the how we see Survivor and how idols are played. And from watching that back then, I truly thought that Russell Hantz would win because it's been a while since seen Survivor Samoa, but from what I remember, Natalie White got by pure luck. She was just basically riding coattails the whole time and just won because the jury was bitter about Russell. And you know what? I thought for a minute that Michelle was like that, but I honestly, from watching the whole season, I honestly can compare Michelle to Fabio and Survivor Nicaragua. Fabio played a great social game. He didn't make any enemies out there. He seemed to be this carefree guy, and he was a bit clueless at the points on the votes, but Fabio actually won the last 3, 4 immunity challenges, and he won when it counted, just like Michelle. She won when it counted. So I think out of all the Survivor castaways that have come and gone, I definitely think that Michelle is definitely like Fabio from Survivor Nicaragua. So even though I did not want Michelle to win, I congratulate you, Michelle, for winning the title of Sole Survivor. It's definitely not an easy thing to do, especially this season with all the medical evacuations that happened. Jeff pointed out that in the reunion show. The one thing I didn't agree with Jeff is when he said that Michelle was an underdog, and I don't agree with that because on the Beauty Tribe, they can get by on anything just by their looks. I look at the Brain Tribe more as the underdogs because, they they're portrayed and they refer to them as geeks, which I think is a wrong terminology for that. I think it's kind of offensive to call them that. So I think they're more stereotyped in a way than the Beauty Tribe, but that's just me. He did elaborate on the medical evacuations, and he did show Aubrey on Twitter compared herself to Cochran, which I could definitely see that. Aubrey does seem like Cochran. Cochran, like Aubrey, was an underdog, and he actually ended up winning. And even though Aubrey came in second place, she's a winner in my book. But I think the highlight of the finale, the reunion show, was that Ty actually got $50,000 from the singer. And not only did he get $50,000, the animal charity of his choice got $50,000. And I congratulate Ty because he is a fan favorite for all. I definitely liked his personality and how much he loves animals, and I hope that Ty can inspire others to not only love animals, but just to be a kind and caring person. What was very interesting is that Jeff revealed the next season of Survivor, what that's going to be about, and apparently it's going to be millennials versus Generation X. And Already I'm rooting. It's well, basically it's going to be another old versus young season like Survivor Nicaragua was. And from the little clips they showed about with the different competitors, I'm already rooting for Generation X because the one, I'm not sure their names or anything yet, but it seems like the person who was on the Millennials tribe just seemed very full of himself, saying like, "Oh, who says you have to work for a living?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm already not a fan." So we'll definitely have to wait and see. Survivor usually premieres in September, so we'll have to wait and see on an exact date for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this Survivor recap, and I hope you guys enjoyed this season of Survivor Kaoh Rong. Congratulations again to Michelle for winning the title of Sole Survivor. And until next time, stay regal.